Okay. So, can I get someone to read our objective for us? Rooney.
I can use place value patterns and division facts to estimate
Quotients.
quotients for dividends up to 4 digits.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so some vocabulary in here. What is quotients? What does that mean? We talked about it yesterday. Ashuna?
The answer to a division problem.
Yes, the answer to a division problem, exactly. Does anyone remember dividends? Ben?
It's the number being divided.
Exactly. So, I just want to hold this up so you can remember. Dividend is this number that's being divided up, and divisor is the number you are dividing by. Okay? So, the words are very close, so we gotta remember this. I'm gonna hang this so we'll remember. Let's see. Division patterns, or place value patterns. We've been looking at dividing multiples of 10, 100, and 1,000. What might those place value patterns be that we've been seeing when we've been dividing those numbers? Think back to our first lesson, when I had that PowerPoint and we were looking at the patterns when we were dividing different problems. Bryn?
We kept on annexing the zeros to get like bigger numbers with bigger problems.
Exactly. When we're annexing those zeros after we look for our basic fact, if the number goes from 40 to 400, we see that place value change, right? So those are our place value patterns. Division facts. What does that mean? Division facts. Ashton?
I'm pretty sure it means like division facts are like a full set of a division problem.
Yeah, just those basic division problems we've been doing. So we are estimating quotients for dividends up to 4 digits. So today we are just going to some larger numbers. So can I get someone, I have my chart up here, my what, how, and why. Can I get someone to tell me what we are doing today? Based on what we just read. Callie?
Estimating quotients up for dividends up to 4 digits.
Estimate quotients of dividends up to 4 digits. Good. So we're going to talk about the how in a second. But first I would like to do an example problem. Can I get someone to read this problem for us? Noah?
3,800 a year. Pyramids can be made
Quarterly.
quarterly 4 times. Throughout the year, estimate the cost for 1/4 of the year.
Very good. Okay, so this gives you some information that you might not have known before. We have $3,800 a year that you're paying. Now the payments are quarterly. Now think about what a quarter is. Can someone tell me how many quarters make up a dollar? Lily?
4.
Exactly. So quarterly just means that you're paying this 4 times throughout the year. So we're paying this 4 times, and we need to find out how much we're paying each time in that quarter. So what could my problem be? Bryn?
3,800 divided by 4.
Exactly. 3,800 divided by 4. So and I'm going to keep my dollar sign here, so I remember that I am using dollars in this. I'm trying to find the amount of money that I'm paying. So I'm going to talk you through how I would solve this so that you have something to go off of when you're working on our problem today. So I know that I am estimating, so I'm looking for my basic fact. When I look at this basic fact, 38 divided by 4, that doesn't really work out because when I count by 4s, I like to use my multiplication strategy, so I'm using the inverse operation to think 4 times what gives me 38? So thinking back to my basic facts, I know that 4 times 10 gives me 40, right? So that's close. I like to start with those easy multiplication facts and think about how close I am. Then maybe I could subtract or add one to try and find one that's close. So if 4 times 10 is 40, I know that I only take 2 away to get to 38, so it can't be divisible by 4. So I'm going to round this to 4,000 because it is very close to 4,000. Now I have my new problem of $4,000 divided by 4. So my basic fact this time is going to be 4 divided by 4. Because what I thought first, which I saw a lot of people do yesterday in small group 2, I thought 40, which I can do that. I can, and I would get 10, and I annex my 2 zeros. But you can think of an easier one too. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. And then I annex 3 zeros. So it'll work both ways. I could make my basic fact 40 divided by 4, and I'd get 10. But then you just have to be really careful with how many zeros you're annexing. Okay, so someone tell me how much I'm paying each quarter. About how much? Ryan?
You're paying about $1,000.
Exactly, about $1,000. So, what I'm going to have you do today, we have a problem-based lesson, and it is on Schoology. So I thought about doing stations for this first, but then I thought we do stations and must do, may do's a lot, so I'm going to change it up a little. So this time it's going to be on Schoology. So you're going to go to your math folder, and then today is Friday, and there's a PowerPoint in there. So what we're going to do, it'll come up like this, and it's easier if you download it. So this little button up in the corner next to print, download, and then it'll pop up down here and you click on it. And then it actually becomes a PowerPoint. So what we're going to do is we are going to plan a birthday party. Can I get someone to read this? I'm sorry, my projector's so dim. Lily?
You need to plan a birthday party for you and your friends. Your parents told you they would pay as long as you found out how much everything costs.
Good, so we're going to find out how much a birthday party costs. A birthday party at Dave & Buster's. So, can I get someone to read the things we are going to have to find the costs of here? Callie?
Arcade games, pizza, desserts, party favors, plates, cups, and knives.
Very good. So, these are all the things that we're going to need to find out the cost of. And these are all the things that you would actually pay for at a birthday party. Now, I do have to say that the numbers aren't exactly, so it's not going to be exactly what you would pay for this birthday party, but it's close. So, you're going to get different problems like this. They're going to have, some of them will have multiple steps. Some of them you'll only have to do one step. But that's why I'm going to have you work in groups, because that way you can talk about it, you can reason. We're going to use our problem-solving steps. So actually, before I move on, can I get someone to read our first problem-solving step so we know what to do? Ashuna?
Visualize.
Visualize. So you're going to look at this and you're going to picture this birthday party. You're going to picture the arcade games and how many kids will be there and all of that. Who can read the next one up there for me? Ashton?
Retell.
Retell. So another reason you're going to be working in a group. You guys can retell the problem to each other. Make sure that everyone knows what you're doing. Next. Claire?
Represent.
Represent. So I am going to give you a paper where you can show your work. You can represent the problem using symbols, pictures, numbers, all that. Next. Krista Joy?
Solve.
Yep, so you're going to solve it. If you solve it individually, just make sure that you're talking and you're telling each other what you're getting, making sure that everyone's on the same page, okay? Next, last one, Brian.
Check and justify.
Yes, so that's actually kind of what I just said. You're going to check with your group, you're going to justify it. I like to use my inverse operation of multiplication to check if my answer is correct. So when you are dividing, especially since we are just starting division, I suggest using multiplication to check your work, okay? So, last thing I want to say before we move on is please be careful of how many kids, because there are some times where you will be counting 2 parents, like for pizza. So it will say more than just 8 kids, and you'll have to take that into account too, okay? Yes, Claire?
Will it say it?
Yes, it'll say it up there. Any questions? Yes, Noah? So one more thing before we move on. How are we going to do this? How are we going to estimate quotients of dividends? Callie?
The birthday, or finding out and estimating maybe the
Yeah, by finding the cost of a birthday party, we are going to estimate. So, estimating the cost of a birthday. Okay, while I finish writing this, I want you to find a group of 3, find a spot in the room, and then I will come give you the paper to do your work on. You will also need your devices, so you can get in your group of 3, start getting up your devices, and I will come give you your papers. Okay? Go ahead.
Trying to shoot the ball.
Sure.
Why?